my man, breaking my foolish heart. I really don't know what to do about him. I've told myself I've got to do without him. There he goes as usual, my man, tearing my heart apart. He's made my life a mess. I've got to do this, I guess. Goodbye, Joe. From here I kiss you. Goodbye, Joe. I hope I don't miss you. If you had been on the square and had treated me fair, we'd have not had a tiff. If you had not said I should go and jump right off the nearest cliff. If you had stayed off the make and you never had taken to coming home stiff. If I had not smelled perfume with a nasty, unfamiliar whiff. I'm gonna miss you, baby. Things could have been terrific. Oh, what's the diff? If you had not had the cheek to stay out for a week saying back in a jiff. If you were not such a two-timing guy. If you weren't, if you hadn't, if you didn't, if you weren't, if you hadn't, if you didn't, but you were and you have and you went and you did. And so, goodbye. If I had not seen you take Geraldine on the lake in your flat-bottom skiff. If you were not found with Sue with your arms around her bare midriff. If I had not seen you pen 60 letters to Gwen in your own hieroglyph. If you had not left me home when you had 2 seats for self-as-if. I'm gonna miss you, baby. You were too darn prolific. Oh, what's the diff? If you had not had the cheek to stay out for a week saying back in a jiff. If you were not such a two-timing guy. If you weren't, if you hadn't, if you didn't, if you weren't, if you hadn't, if you didn't, but you were and you have and you went and you did. And so, goodbye. If, when I asked where you'd been, you had not clipped my chin with a beautiful biff. If I had not always found purple lipstick on your handkerchief. If you had not told me lies and then looked in my eyes with a smile beautiful. If, when I caught you with Kate, you had not said, it's of no significance. Oh, I'm gonna miss you, baby. And I could get specific. Oh, what's the diff? If the best years of my life weren't spent as your wife with no marriage certificate. If you were not such a two-timing guy. If you weren't. If you hadn't. If you didn't. If you weren't. If you hadn't. If you didn't. But you were and you have and you went and you did. And so, goodbye. See you later, Joe. Thank you. I need to sit down after that. I just want to say as a disclaimer, I don't actually advocate violence. There are much better ways of dealing with those sorts of situations. I don't want to see any headlines tomorrow in the paper saying, you know, Ruiss Rivoli review results in ruined relationships and riots. Be bad. I had to say that several times over before I came on stage. Okay. In fact, there's a much better way, as I said, of dealing with such troubles. And I know for me, when I realize my own incapacity to do things, that's actually when I am the most free.